Sleepy town settling for the night, where every lawn is tailored just right, and it's about time that the back porch light comes on. At that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street. I got a headache right here. Hey, are we at the equinox? We are recording this on the 20th. Happy equinox, little witch.
You got any plans?
Equinox.
Did we decide? Okay, firstly, did we decide on the name for the goblin?
I knew you were going to say that because I was like, we sound like goblins. I put up a poll on our Instagram and one person said that they like boring names for like animals or pets, like Jeff or like,
or
like, you know,
Steven.
Bob. But then Avi was like, he kind of looks like Willem Dafoe. And then somebody else commented, you should name him Gillum Dafoe because he looks like Willem Dafoe. I was like, you're the second person.
Gillum.
I like Gillum.
I like Gillum. That is such a like Jeeves name, like Willem. But Gillum is more like Gillum. Come make copies.
Gillum.
Does he just whisper? He whispers from under our desks.
Like Smeagol. What? Yeah, is it Smeagol from Lord of the Rings?
Gollum.
Is who's Smeagol?
Smeagol's like the normal one. I think Gollum's the bad one.
It's like Jekyll and Hyde. It's like a split personality. All right. So does Gillum? Okay. So how about to make both parties happy? We name our normal goblin Will. and then the Gollum one is
Gillum.
Gillum.
You know what Gillum rhymes with? Kill him. He's little.
Kill him with the no. Remember that song?
That's the first order. There were some other things we had to talk about before we get into the show. Hey, Witch, hey. I don't remember what they were. My brain's a little scrambled.
All right, so we'll have to put up a post on our Insta saying that we found a name for our hobgoblin.
You have been on fire with these stories, dude. I am not even caught up. We had some additional information from our patron Lori about snakes, specifically in the Native American culture, and we want to share those. But after this episode, we're going to be talking about the Major Arcana of practical magic, but it's going to be 2 parts. So I think we're going to have an episode after that, kind of diving back into the snakes, and we want to share it there because I think 5.5 hours of snakes. We thought we had it all. We did not.
And the only reason why we're diving back into snakes is because we found it in with another kind of like off the beaten path topic.
Very deep cut.
Yeah, deep cut. Or like, I never even thought we were going to get to that because I was like, that is so like, it's mentioned once in like the first book. No one's going to give a shit. But like, we had so much snake stuff and we want to talk about more snake stuff. And we had more stuff pouring in about the snake stuff after the snake episode. So it's like, all right, it kind of makes sense to do like a little spin-off, little side quest snake episode.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah. So we'll get to that after 2 weeks of tarot.
2 weeks of tarot. Yeah, because, okay, so welcome to Magnolia Street, your one and only musically inspired practical magic fandom podcast.
Yeah, every week we deep dive on different aspects of the movie and the books, as well as treat your ears to our very own practical magic inspired original music. And speaking of, we got a text last night from our producer Mike, and he's like, if you guys are good with these mixes, we can move into mastering, and that's the last step before we can, get our distribution going.
We said, push the damn button.
Yeah. So I think there's like maybe like one little like bell and whistle that he needs to fine tune before we can move it on into mastering, but like we're right there.
I woke up to 36 missed messages between them two, between Jess and Mike going back and forth. I was already out, so I said, I know she can handle it. She knows what she wants. And then I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah. Wait, have you listened to the newest mixes?
No.
Nothing? Why?
I'm a little busy.
Yeah, no, I know, but like you don't.
I didn't.
Is it like you just like you would just rather put it in God's hands, or like
I'm ready for this to be done, and I just want to hear the master.
Me too.
Yeah. Because if I hear something in this mix that I'm like, ooh, I really like that, and it doesn't end up on the master, which it should, I'm be like, the fuck happened there?
Yeah.
So Just
There
skip
was
to the good part.
there was one thing in All Hallows Eve in like the pre-chorus where Daniel was doing these like really cool like higher accents on my vocal in between lines. And
Cool.
like I loved that in the rough mixes, but then apparently Mike didn't tell us this, but he took that out when he put the strings in when we put the strings in because like Daniel's guitar is out of tune. And then for
Oh,
since we started mixing, I've been telling him to put that stuff back in and he's completely ignored it. And then finally I was like, I know I'm not going crazy. I know I'm not going crazy. I went back to our original roughs and I was like, I screen grabbed the exact little snippet part that I was talking about without all the other instrumentation, and you can hear it loud and clear, Daniel's little accents, and I was like, this is what I mean. And he's like, oh, that's what you mean. I was like, yeah, like, why don't you just ask me for clarification if you didn't
yeah, yeah.
know
I
what I
got
meant, bro?
receipts.
Instead of just ignoring what I was talking about and making me act like I was freaking crazy.
Ah, thank you
Um,
for doing that. It's gonna sound so good.
wait, but he was like, he went back and he was like, let me check on it. And then he did, and he was like, I can't add those back in, they're out of tune. And I was like, are you kidding
So was
me?
everything he did out of tune?
No, he said Daniel's guitar for that part was out of tune. When he tried to put it back in with the strings, he's like, it didn't work. So I was
Daniel, you
like,
want $100? Well, do it again. Tune your guitar. Do it again.
God damn it. I was
It's
like, oh
okay.
my God, I love those parts. But I mean, it's not make or break. It's just like one of those extra things that if we had it, I would have loved to have it on there. But at this point, I'm like, we've been doing this. We've been mixing for a year, man. I
Yeah.
am done with this.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Anytime I listen back to our roughs, I'm like, all the instrumentation sounds great, but I'm like, damn, Daniel,
Yeah,
it's
Daniel.
so good.
Yes. I sent that to Mike. Did you see I sent him the animated GIF or
No,
whatever? Like, damn, do you remember that old Vine where
I
he's
think
like, damn,
so. Yeah.
Daniel, back at it again with the white pants? I sent him the
It's
damn
so
Daniel.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very good. No, everything sounds beautiful.
it does.
I can't wait. I'm ready to just put this out into the world, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So this week, I thought it'd be fun to revisit our movie through the eyes of the Tarot's Major Arcana. You and I have been talking back and forth a long time. And anytime we kind of tiptoe around a character, we're like, oh my God, that's so this or that's so this. The most recent one was like the star, right?
Mhm.
But being between two worlds, like Gillian leaving, she's got one foot, on one side of the banister on the other. So anyway, it's come up a few times. So I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to just have a lot to unpack,
Probably.
as well as differing interpretations and ideas. So this first week, we wanted to go through the first 11, or technically 12 cards, starting with zero, the card zero, and that's the Fool. And we're going to go to card 11, which is Justice. And
Mhm.
then next week, we'll pick back up with card 12, which is the Hangman, and ride it all the way out to card 22, which is the World.
Which we just talked about on our snake episode because we said that the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, looked kind of like the wreath going around that figure in the world card, right?
Yes, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we do kind of like sneak it in here and there when,
Mm-hmm.
it's relevant. I think I added like maybe one thing in here because like I thought of it like right off the bat, but like you put most of these notes together, so
This
thank
was
you.
fun. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
I'm sure I'm gonna have like little interjections here and there because I took a tarot course in 2015 and I learned so much. And that's the only reason why like I know as much of the tarot as I do because I dove really deep in that course. So I'm sure I'm gonna be interjecting here and there like,
Yes, please
oh,
do.
I learned about that. I learned about that. I wish I could find my tarot notebook. I was looking for it when I saw you put these together. I was like, I know it's around here somewhere. I don't know exactly. It might actually be at my parents' house. I really want to find that because we like really deep dived into every aspect of it and it was very enlightening. That
I
course
think
was
that
really
is
cool.
so cool. And what I had said just on the side to Justina is we've talked about wanting to make our own like Oracle or tarot inspired, Magnolia Street inspired tarot. And I
Mhm.
think that information would be very helpful for
Yes,
that. It would be a really fun way to incorporate that.
exactly. Yeah, so I guess should we just dive right in because we got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we'll just first give you guys a little brief history of the tarot and kind of what the major arcana, what that is, because the tarot is divided into two parts, the major and the minors, right? So today and next week, we're going to focus on the majors. So the major arcana consists of the 22 named cards in a standard 78 card tarot deck, representing archetypal figures and universal themes, and often seen as a journey of spiritual development and life lessons. So, what is that exactly? The major arcana are the 22 named cards in the tarot deck, numbered from 0, which is the Fool, to 21, which is the World. And the significance is that these cards are considered to represent the core archetypes and major life lessons, often seen as a narrative of spiritual growth and the human journey. They also interchange the major arcana with the term the Fool's journey or the hero's journey, if you've ever heard of that. Most of those archetypes, a lot of storytellers, writers, filmmakers, they all use this kind of template to kind of make their storyline kind of cohesive from beginning to end. And the major arcana really does have that, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it's really cool to use that framework to kind of build out your story. So some examples of these cards, some well-known major arcana cards include the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, the Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune, the World, and I know that like dreaded Death card, right? We see that archetype, stereotype rather, in every Hollywood movie that has to do with witches or the occult, and like whenever somebody draws that card, they're like, oh my god.
It always gets the like zoom in too. It's like,
Yeah. Death is looming.
yeah.
Yeah. But as we'll probably learn later on today, that doesn't really necessarily mean an actual literal death, right? When you pull the death card, it's actually not a bad thing to pull that card. So we'll talk about that later on. So the major arcana, along with the minor arcana, the 56 unnamed cards, make up the full tarot deck. Did we get into the minors at all in any of this?
No, ma'am.
All right, so real quick. So the majors is like all of those archetypal figures, those really defining moments, I guess, if you could say, in one's life when you pull those cards. The minors are like the small, lesser secrets. So it's like the pip cards and the court cards. So like the numbered cards, like if you were playing like a deck of playing cards, it's like the numbers and the suits, basically. And those all correspond with different elements. So it's really cool to pull those cards because it can kind of like fill in the blanks between the majors if you pull those.
You know, it'd be a cool kind of collaboration because we talked about maybe doing an element for the next 4 months is talking about where the tarot sits within those elements because they're incorporated, right? You have the
Right.
cups, you have the swords, etc. So I think that might
Exactly.
be a cool way to interweave some.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's like the beautiful thing about the tarot is that it's so versatile. Like you can kind of peek it in wherever and it kind of it's wherever it's relevant. And it's just a cool little extra thing to make use of. So some other uses, while primarily used for divination, the term major arcana is rarely used by players of the tarot card game, which I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, because it was a game before it was a means of divination. And it's more typically associated with occultism.
So the tarot cards first appeared in Europe in the late 15th century. Artists developed the first decks of cards to depict archetypes of the times, characters influenced by folk beliefs and practices with ancient roots. During this period, cards were used to play games. However, by the 18th century, people began to give meanings to each card, including suggestions on how various cards could be laid out for divinatory purposes. Modern tarot owes a lot to the Order of the Golden Dawn. I think that has to do with Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Which is a London based group active in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Golden Dawn member Arthur Edward Waite commissioned the drawings for a deck of tarot cards from fellow member Pamela Coleman Smith, a gifted artist. Through their collaboration, the deck was published as the Rider Waite deck, after Waite himself and Rider, the publisher, snubbing Smith entirely. Ooh.
Fucked up.
However, the modern tarot community acknowledges Smith's instrumental role in the creation of the deck and calls it the Smith-Waite deck, or Rider-Waite-Smith deck.
Yeah, I've also heard it called that too.
Interesting.
Yeah. So going back to tarot being used as more of a game before it was used for divinatory purposes, I wanted to mention this because it's one of the things that I learned in the tarot course. We learned this game called Tarocchi, and it was one of the first card games that they say that tarot evolved from. So Tarocchi is Italian, singular tarocco, and similar names in other languages, is a specific form of a playing card deck used for different trick-taking games. An earlier name of the game, Trionfi, is first recorded in the diary of Giusto Giusti.
Oh,
Like that name, in September 1440. In other early documents, it was called Ludus Triumphorum, or similar. June 1505, the name Tarocchi was first used in Ferrara. In December 1505, the name Tarot, Taraux, appeared in Avignon. The names Tarocco, Tarocchi, and Tarot developed in later times besides different writing forms. The poet Francesco Berni mocked this word in his Capitolo del Gioco della Primera, written in 1526.
Oh, that was so good.
I try.
Your ancestors are proud.
I know, they're like patting me on the back right now. The name Triomphe developed later as a general term for trick-taking games. A triomphe, Triomphe, in French, Trumpen in German, and Trump in English. Fuck that word. In English, and persisted as the name for the trumps in tarot packs even when they had been renamed Tarocchi. Other different games claim the name without any use of Tarocchi cards. The first basic rules for the game of Tarocco appear in the manuscript of Marciano da Tortona. The next are known from the year 1637. Excluding Piedmontese tarocchi, which is more closely related to French tarot, Italian tarocchi are all of type 1, i.e., they have trumps other than the 1 and the 21st that are worth more than 1 card point. Winning the final trick, ultimo, awards a set number of points. Sicilian Tarocchi is played in only 4 towns with 63 cards from the Tarocco Siciliano deck. Tarocchini is confined to Bologna and uses the 62-card Tarocco Bolognese deck. These games have 4 face cards in each suit, but dropped some of their pip cards early in the history. The pip cards are like the numbered cards. So both decks include 21 trumps and the Fool, a suitless card that excuses the player from the following suit. So I'm wondering if the Fool is kind of like more played like the Joker.
Just sneaking out sometimes or used as like a wild card.
Yeah, exactly. And also, there's another game, a Sicilian card game called Scupa that my father used to play when I was growing up.
Cute.
And like we used to always play that. And the cards, they're basically like the court cards, like the knight, the king, and they're all the characters, and also the pip cards too, like the number cards, and they're like holding like the club on a horse or something like that. So they look very tarot-esque, which always confused me growing up because my mom was like, I don't want you playing with tarot. I was like, they're basically Scupa cards. What are you talking about?
So they played at Scupa and they didn't play the Tarocchi.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So that is just one of many decks. Apparently, it's estimated that there are around 400 tarot decks, each representing ideas from religion, occultists, and brotherhoods. I feel like there's more than that. I'm not sure when this was written because now tarot, every movie, TV, subgenre has a tarot deck.
Right.
Doing this, I was like, this is such a cool way because we're so obsessed with this. And maybe somebody new to tarot is like, what's an easy way to remember? And the things we're going to talk about, the scenes, the depictions that go along with some of the major arcana, it's going to be easier to remember. But I did see that there is like a movie, like generalized movie tarot, and that's how I think I would learn the easiest is coordinating it with a character.
Right.
So I thought that was cool, but learning it this way is going to be cool.
I know. I can't wait to dive into like all the characters and like did you kind of like pick these out or did you like find
I kind of picked them out. I tried to have a balance and make sure most of the characters were showcased. There are some other scenes that could fit better, but they didn't look as good because I made cards and they're freaking cute. AI made cards, but they're freaking cute.
Yeah.
So, what do tarot cards tell you? Most people wrongly believe that tarot cards predict the future, which they don't. What they do is aid self-reflection, helping you consider a problem, find ways to solve it. They help you uncover the constructs of your inner process. Can tarot readers really read people well? Or do they just have powers? So this says there are 2 approaches to analyzing the abilities of tarot card readers, the paranormal approach and the non-paranormal approach. The paranormal approach claims that supernatural forces are working during tarot readings. On the other hand, the non-paranormal approach claims simple psychological effects are at play during a tarot reading, meaning tarot readers know how to read people well. In short, it's up to you which approach you believe. And also, if you're just reading for yourself, up to your interpretation, right?
I've never felt a spiritual connection like when reading the tarot. Like I've never like felt like voices were popping in my head telling me things. I've always just like kind of analyzed because I'm a very visual person. I've always just analyzed the visuals of the imagery and then kind of use it to formulate my own kind of interpretations. But yeah, I know some people like they actually like feel spirits while they're working with it, and I'm like, I don't work like that. But like everybody works differently, so
what a talent,
right? Yeah.
Damn. So I wanted to look up like what the Bible says about tarot cards because as some of you know, Just knows there was like a little bit of a family rift recently about our crowdfunding project from a family member of mine. And that being a witch is evil, like people still have that mindset. I explained, I'm about nature. I take care of the earth. I'm not sacrificing da, 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 da. And they're like, but you do tarot cards. And I'm like, dude, our great aunt was doing tarot cards and reading palms. Is she in hell?
Yeah.
So, it's news to me that this person has any interaction with a Bible. But anyway, I thought it'd be interesting to pull this out because we love the Bible. And Justina and I decided we're going to start not attacking the Bible, but reading it to you in a different way. And I wanted to do this in the fashion of Gen Z because that Gen Z Bible is so fucking funny.
When you were reading this to me over Marco, I was like dying. I was
It's so funny.
that's
Yeah.
hysterical.
The Bible does not mention tarot cards specifically, but God's word, man's word, according to God, does speak of the intent and action, which would include the use of such evil devices. So some of these like verses, one came from Leviticus 19:31. So in the words of Gen Z, yo, don't mess with psychics or ghost vibes. Don't go looking for them or you'll just end up with some bad juju. I'm God. Trust me. I got you. And then Leviticus 26, if you start simping for spirits and chasing after shady magic, you're basically ghosting God, and he's not gonna vibe with that.
But like, I like how you didn't only just read that in Gen Z speak, you also made them sound like they were from Brooklyn. That's amazing.
Oh man, it's canon now. That's
Yeah.
canon.
Yeah, it's word. It's the word.
So take that for what you will. I don't think there's any harm in it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's of the devil.
I don't either. I always saw it as like these card decks are beautiful pieces of art. I don't know. There's always been this stigma around them because of how Hollywood uses them. Like, right? We always see the death card. We always see that looming death, and people always or the devil card. That's another one that people are like, "Oh, it's got the devil in it. It's of the devil." And it's like, no. Just because something has a picture of the devil does not mean that it's like it's evil or,
Check out that Tenacious D CD.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I don't remember what point I was getting at there.
I want to say that I think at least Catholic priests do forms of bibliomancy. Church, they're drawn to certain scriptures. Why are they drawn to that scripture? Because it comes to them for a specific reason. So boop, boop, they open that book and share it with you, right?
That's a good point. I never thought of that before. Yeah. Yeah, they're doing bibliomancy. It's the same shit.
And turning wine into blood and bread into body.
That's witchy as fuck.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. So there were only 3 mentions in our practical magic book. I did look in the other books. I looked for even like more the well-known cards, or I think I typed in like man hanging upside down, hangman, hang, fool card, cards, tarot. Nothing came up except in practical magic.
Yeah, I do remember that Gillian is kind of like the one messing around with divination, right, in the practical magic world. But in the movie, obviously, she does the palm reading. But I do remember in the books, she does the tarot. She doesn't do the palm thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into the practical magic book. And this starts on page 84. And this says, Kylie knows she shouldn't rush things. She has her whole life ahead of her. All the same, she's been traveling to this exact moment at warp speed for the duration of her existence. She's been completely focused on it, as if this one morning in July were the center of the universe. Certainly, she's going to be a much better teenager than she ever was a child. She's half believed this all her life, and now her aunt has read her tarot cards for her, and they predict great good fortune. After all, the star was her destiny card, and that symbol ensures success in every enterprise. Excuse me.
It's a hydration day.
My throat is so dry. Yeah, and also I'm trying to get rid of this if this is a kidney stone.
Did you make your stuff?
I did. I have my little tea here.
Oh, good.
Did I show you this mug I thrifted? It's a Ray Dunn mug. It says cat lover, and it's pink. I was like, if I don't buy that mug, yeah,
that's amazing.
I was like, this has Justina written all over it.
It does.
All right, this next one is on page 86. This says, everyone agreed that Sally's sister was confusing. There were times when you'd meet her at the grocery store and she'd insist you come on over and let her play around with her tarot cards for you, and other times when you say hello to her on the street only to have her look right through you as if she were a million miles away, say in a place like Tucson where life was a lot more interesting. And then the last mention is on page 116. Gillian, who could certainly be accused of forgetfulness and disorder, was missing things that seemed almost impossible to lose, even for her. Her prized red cowboy boots, which she had always kept beside the bed, simply weren't there when she woke up one morning, as though they decided to just walk away. Her tarot cards, which she kept tied up in a satin handkerchief, and which had certainly helped her out of a fix or two, especially after her second marriage, when she didn't have a cent and had to set herself up at a card table in a mall telling fortunes for $2.95, had evaporated like smoke. Apparently, Gillian was doing some tarot for some extra cash at a mall.
I feel like she'd be good at it. I feel like she could also probably incorporate that kind of more sensual. Let me see your palm. Let me cross index what's going on with your life, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, for sure. Yeah. The thing that always like bothered me about getting into the tarot though is like once people know that you read, they don't leave you alone. Like
Everybody wants
they
one.
everybody wants a reading. And I was friends with this one girl for a while and only like on the internet, right? And she would like message me every fucking day for a
Well,
new and not in a great relationship and I would read the cards. I was like, yeah, I don't know about this guy. Maybe he's not the one for you. And she's like, no, he is. And I was like, all right, well, then if you don't want the fucking advice I'm giving you, then why are you asking me for a
get
fucking reading?
out of my fucking face. Go
I
home.
stopped, I, I stopped responding to her messages, and I think
Good.
she got the point.
Good.
But like,
Well,
it's important as a tarot reader to set your boundaries because
yeah,
people will take you for all you're worth if you
absolutely.
don't set those boundaries. And that's your energy. You got to guard your energy, man. Reading tarot and feeding into like tapping into other people's energy, it wastes your own energy. It takes up your own energy. And at that point, they're energy vampires. So I would say cut them off and send them on their merry way because they will not leave you alone if you don't.
Maybe that's why the guy on our booze cruise was in such bad mood. Maybe he was just at the end of his energy rope, you know?
I think you're probably right. I mean, I totally get that. I totally get that. But I mean, he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, we all have daddy or mommy issues. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that was all. Every one of our messages was the same thing, right?
so Justina's going to bring us into our first card. We kind of got a little system. We're gonna talk about what the traditional meaning is, kind of what is featured on the card. Then I want to tell you what our card looks like and kind of what the themes are that go along with that. So buckle up, here we go.
All right, so we're going to start with the Fool, and this card is numbered 0 of the Major Arcana. And the Fool symbolizes beginnings, innocence, new journeys. So, the symbolism in traditional tarot, such as the Rider Waite deck, the Fool is often depicted standing on a cliff's edge, looking forward with excitement, carrying only a small bag, representing minimal baggage. A white dog is at their feet, which symbolizes instinct, loyalty, or a push toward the unknown. The sun shines brightly, symbolizing optimism and divine guidance. I always thought the dog was trying to like bite his ankles to get him from jumping off the cliff.
Ah, okay.
I always saw it the
See,
other way.
see, that's a good insight to have here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that dog could symbolize hesitation of jumping off into the unknown because like it's scary. It's scary to, wade into uncharted territory. So
Mm-hmm.
I always saw the dog as like kind of more of like that hesitation aspect of the Fool.
Okay. I can't remember if the dog in the card is looking up at his owner or looking ahead because it could also be like even the dog is unknowingly
Right.
going forward into the unknown with this fool.
All right, so it looks like the dog. All right, now that I look at it, it looks like the dog is like pushing him off the cliff.
Go forth.
It's not really biting his ankles. I might I might have seen that in like another deck that I subconsciously picked up on it, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it looks like a playful dog. It doesn't look like it's like get the fuck off the cliff. It's like,
Okay.
yeah,
It's
but
also not like sadistically pushing him over the edge.
right, no, it looks like it's like kind of jumping at him, kind of like excited.
Well, in our deck, I had AI generate these cards just through ChatGPT. Kind of gave it the prompt. What it came up with, super beautiful. So in our card, which we're going to put over on our Patreon, I'll put all of them. You can download them, print them. But in our card, it features a soft golden glow bathing young Sally and Gillian. Sally has her dark braided hair, wearing a little green pinafore, and Gillian has her fiery red hair. In a flowing little pink dress, they walk barefoot through a field of wildflowers, curiosity and innocence reflected in their expressions. And instead of a dog, I had them put a little black cat prancing
Aw.
ahead of them, symbolic of their intuition and the unknown. The scene is framed with these delicate vines, giving it a whimsical, enchanting quality, and the sun is rising behind them, casting a warm light over their path. Super cute.
That's so
What do you
cute.
think of these cards? Did you look through them?
I did. Yeah. I like the aesthetic of this first one.
Yes.
And then they kind of look like they get different as
They
the
do. I told it as well. I was like, I like that style of the
yeah,
first card. Try to keep with that. But some of the prompts were harder than others,
yeah.
as you'll see by the very end when we get to justice.
Okay. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Some themes of the Fool card are that childlike innocence, a curiosity, untapped potential, a sense of adventure, but also naivety, standing at the edge of something new, unaware of the challenges ahead, and also trusting in the journey without knowing the destination.
Do you have any other interpretations personally?
Those pretty much all hit the nail on the head. Yeah, it's like that childlike wonder, doing something that you've never done before and kind of like, you know how when you're a kid and you just like kind of impulsively do things and you don't really think about the fear behind it, trying to tap into that childlike aspect of your psyche
Yes.
and doing things blinded by the fear and like something could happen, something bad could happen, but you're not focused on that because you don't want to be blindsided by fear. You want to be excited about the adventure and what potential that could possibly bring you. Yeah.
And how it applies here with our film or story in general, mostly the film we're going to concentrate on, is that Sally and Gillian, as children, they're joyful, they're unaware until the aunts fill them in on the family curse. And they're also unaware of their fate that is to come. They live with the aunts kind of in this free, no rules system under their care. They're cared for. Magic is fun and playful to them. It's not something serious or dangerous, weighty just yet. And the moment of foreshadowing, an omen, a warning from the aunts, or an encounter that this hints their journey won't always be so light, that comes into play when they're hearing the story, but also when Gillian says, I can't wait to fall in love. Like that is the fool in her leaping forward.
One other thing I want to say is basically Sally too. When Sally kind of like jumps into that relationship with Michael, she's no longer giving a fuck about the curse. I mean, granted, there could be a spell over her and Michael because of what the aunts do, but like she's not really thinking about the curse in that moment. She's just like diving headfirst into this relationship because like it was love at first sight for both of them.
And do you
So
think too, because she's like, I want to be normal, I want to be normal. I think even in the books, she's like this is all hogwash. Like they don't have any power, so maybe she doesn't even believe in the curse. You know, her parents are dead because life.
exactly. Yeah. So I think at that point, both her and Jillian were like, fuck that curse.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that mess. I'm getting on with my own life.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like, I don't know, maybe continuing to live with Franny and Jet kind of kept her in that bubble of the curse. And maybe it was always looming in the back of her mind, even though initially she's like, fuck that. I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm going to do what I want because I love this guy. But then ultimately, maybe, it was always looming because Franny and Jet were always in her ear, like,
But you
no.
take those jumps anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so moving on to the Magician card, and this card is all about manifestation, power, and potential. So the Magician stands with one hand pointing toward the sky and the other toward the earth, symbolizing the connection between spiritual and material. A table before him holds the four suits of the tarot: cups, wands, swords, pentacles, representing mastery over all elements. The infinity symbol above his head is limitless potential. The red and white robes symbolize action, which is the red, and the purity of intent, which is the white.
And at first, I had asked ChatGPT to generate the aunts to represent this card, but I had them later on. I was like, I don't know if I want to do like two per character in that fashion. But then I thought of Maria because she's this original manifester in this story. You know, she's the original ancestor manifester. And but really, visually, you'd probably want to put her as the hangman because that's, the visual that we have.
Right.
In this fashion, I wanted her to be the magician. So in our card, she stands with her long, flowing, loose brown curls and her white dress, and she's beneath this wooden gallows structure. She exudes power rather than fear. And in this billowing white gown, it's kind of falling off her one shoulder. She's lifting one hand to the sky while the other gestures downwards, channeling channeling the energy between the realms, as above, so below. Her dark eyes are lined with mystery, and she's got crescent moon earrings in her ears, symbolizing intuition. A radiant full moon glows behind her like a head halo, illuminating her presence. And then there are floating pentacles and swirling stardust dancing around her, representing manifestation, willpower, and magical intent. Though the structure suggests past persecutions, she stands firm, reclaiming her power.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful.
Yeah. I could also see the aunts as the magician because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like look at what they did with Sally. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like they kind of used their powers to kind of pull the wool over her eyes and
Mm-hmm.
maybe it wasn't exactly ethical, but so some of the themes of the magician card, this means harnessing power, understanding and controlling one's abilities, manifestation, turning thought into reality through intention, the balance between worlds, bridging the spiritual and physical realms to create change, and confidence and skill, knowing one's talents and using them with purpose. And when you also think back to the book, the aunts were the ones that were like, I don't know if you want to say channeling this lightning, but lightning was a huge
Mm-hmm.
aspect, right? It was a huge key element in the book. And like all these boys are like falling in love with them. And then they're running across this green, this grassy knoll and getting struck by lightning.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I could definitely see the onset the magician as well, for sure.
So how this applies in our story, Mastery of Magic. Maria is the original practitioner in the Owens lineage, the first to wield magic with intention and power. If you don't count Hannah, she casts the infamous curse on love, which ultimately shapes the fate of all Owens women to come. And accused of witchcraft during the 1600s, she straddles the line between the mystical and the mundane, commanding supernatural forces, yet living among these ordinary people. Maria is a guiding force for her descendants, much like the magician's role as a teacher of arcane knowledge. Also, a little bit more symbolism. Maria likely would have worked with the herbs, earth, potions, water, incantations, air, candle magic, fire, mastering all aspects of her craft. Though her body perished, her legacy is eternal in her family. Her magic continues through the generations. Also, this could be Jet and Franny, the metaphors embodying the magician, wisdom, and skill. These archetypes, of the magician teaching magic not as a game, but as something real, something that must be understood and respected. Or it could also be interpreted as maybe the manifestation, Sally working that Amos Veritas spell.
That is absolutely true, right?
Yeah.
Taking those elements because didn't we're gonna get into the elements more in future episodes, like more specifically each episode give its
Yes.
specific element and like really dive deep on those. But yeah, if you think about it, throughout the movie they're channeling all those elements. Like we saw Sally's connection with the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then her connection with the flame, kind of like blowing it backwards,
Mm-hmm.
and the connection with the air, the petals going off into, the petals and the leaves, and the connection she has with those, and how she just lets them out off into the air, and that air just like carries them to their destination.
Exactly.
And then the earth, right? Her verbena apothecary. She's very in tune with her garden, and she uses her hands working her herbs and her, magical creations.
Yes.
So I think Sally mostly is depicted the most, I think, throughout the film anyway, mostly in tune with all the elements as a whole. But maybe that's because she's the protagonist. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're going to move on to the High Priestess, and she represents intuition, secrets, and mystery. And as far as symbolism in the tarot, the High Priestess sits between two pillars, Boaz and Jachin, representing the balance of opposites, the light and dark, the known and the unknown. And a veil behind her symbolizes hidden knowledge that can only be understood when one is ready. The moon at her feet reflects intuition and the cycles of nature and magic, and she holds a scroll or book. It's actually, isn't it the Torah in the Rider Waite? I think she's holding the Torah, which contains wisdom meant to be learned over time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And in our deck, this is where the aunts come in. And here we depicted them as younger women, and they could be seen as pillars themselves. They are the pillars of their household, trying
Mhm.
to keep everything together.
Yeah.
But they stand in this candle lit chamber surrounded by arcane symbols and the glow of mystical knowledge. Jet has the silvery white hair and it's intricately braided, wearing a dark embroidered coat over a high collared blouse, very Victorian,
Yeah.
exuding wisdom and control. Her eyes are also like white. Like she is channeled in. She's tapped in.
Like, oh, did you ever see Penny Dreadful?
Mm-mm.
You never watch. Oh, okay. So the main character, I forget her name, but when she channels, her eyes kind of like they flip back, yeah, and then like turn white. It's
Yeah.
freaky as
Yeah.
fuck. And she's kind of dressed like she's given Penny Dreadful vibes with like that coat. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And actually, the fact that her hair is white, I was like, man, that's yeah, all right. It works. Her hair's lighter in the movie, but in the books, at least in Rules of Magic, her hair does turn white, right?
Oh yeah, you're
Overnight.
right. Yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So, and then there's Franny next to her, and she's got these cascading red curls, wearing a corset over delicate lace. Her gaze is intent and curious, and between them, an ancient book rests open on a wooden table, pages illuminated by flickering candlelight. Behind them, an arched stained glass window displays glowing crescent moons and sacred geometry, casting an ethereal blue light into the room. The air is thick with secrets, intuition, and legacy of magic.
Love that. So, some of the themes of the High Priestess card sacred wisdom represents deep intuitive knowledge that is passed down or uncovered through personal experience. It represents mystery and secrets, the unseen world, hidden truths, and the power of understanding without explanation. The divine feminine, a guardian of ancient knowledge, feminine power, and the subconscious mind. And the balance between worlds, the bridge between the seen and unseen, logic and intuition.
Yeah. And that is our Jet and Franny. They're the protectors of this ancient knowledge, the keepers of magic, and the silent guide, well, sometimes guides, we'll just say guides for Sally and Gillian. They understand the curse, kind of. They kind of switch the rules now and again in the
Yeah.
books and the history of the Owens women, yet they reveal information only when the time is right or convenient for them.
Right, right.
They don't always explain magic logically. They just simply know how things work, and their teachings are often cryptic or warped in humor and practicality. Unlike Maria Owens, the magician who actively creates magic, Franny and Jet are more passive in their power, maybe. They
Yeah.
understand that magic isn't just about casting spells, it's about knowing when not to interfere.
You mean like
Do they?
after the damage has already been done?
Right, right.
Like when Sally came back and she's like, can you undead him?" And they're like, "We're sorry, we can't do that
Can't
now."
do that. Or when they're like, this rope will protect you. We're gonna go to the Hyatt Hotel. Waltham.
Waltham, Massachusetts.
Yeah. They also lastly embody the deep-rooted wisdom passed down through generations of Owens women. They honor magic as something sacred rather than just a tool.
Okay, so moving on to the Empress. This is card number 3 of the Major Arcana, and this signifies nurturing, love, femininity, home, and abundance. So in the tarot, the Empress is usually surrounded by nature, symbolizing abundance and fertility. She is often depicted with flowing robes, a crown of stars, and a lush landscape around her, showing her connection to life and creation. She embodies motherly wisdom, emotional security, and the idea that love is a form of magic in itself.
AI had a little bit of a harder time with this one because I wanted to depict the girls when they're younger with the angel wings at the table of abundance, the
Oh,
table of goodies and
I love
desserts
that.
and the lush life. So it kind of did it. I included the two that it did. So
Yeah.
one is more looking like Franny, one is more looking like Gillian, but there's at least one grown woman between two younger women. But in the one with Franny, the two girls are looking up at her like super lovingly. They're in their little white attire, no wings, but there's tons of goodies on the table. There's little butterflies, and that blue light that we were talking about in our color theory is being cast in behind them. And
Yeah.
then the one where they are standing with, we'll say Jet. Jet is looking so beautiful. She's got this white dress on,
Oh,
her
yeah.
hair is all done up, and the girls look younger here.
They
They're
do.
also in their little white outfits, but here they have their angel wings. They're in front of this little table or behind this little table with candles and like arcane magic. But behind them, there's a lot of growth. There's flowers and food. It looks like they could be in a kitchen.
Yeah.
So there's two cards that you can pick from here.
Right. Yeah. So I like how it says that the flickering and candlelight and soft golden glow filtering through the arch windows create an atmosphere of abundance, care, maternal love. And that's what the Empress is all about, is like that maternal love. And it kind of reminds me of like the beginning scene and when they're in that lush garden and they got all those like snacks and food and like on the table and Franny's drinking like port and
Yes.
and they're giving
Decadence.
this unsolicited advice, right,
Yeah.
already, but it's like they do it because they love these little girls and they're their guardians now, and that's their empress kind of love.
Mhm.
That's more so the movie. If we're going more into the books, I think I would see Aunt Isabel as the empress.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
one. Hmm.
she's kind of like that matriarch even before, Sally and Gillian had the aunts had Aunt Isabel,
Yeah.
even more so than their own mother. Like,
Yeah,
and so I think it's important to stress that the Empress is not always your actual mother, but it could symbolize somebody who steps into that motherly role.
for
You know?
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But these cards are so cute.
They're so cute. I'm kind of half tempted to actually like fix the numbering and the letters and things like that and combine the ones that we have two of and make it an actual like something you could really download and print.
I
But
love how not well, was it ChatGPT or I don't know what AI you
yes.
used to generate this? How like yeah, it does fuck up the lettering sometimes, so it's
Yeah.
like the Empress,
Priest with
the
E, double E,
Empress,
double S.
the Empress. It's pretty funny. So some of the themes of the Empress card. The Empress is unconditional and loving and nurturing. She represents warmth, care, and a protective environment. Abundance and comfort, a place filled with love, food, security, where one can grow without fear. She also represents creativity and growth, encouraging expression, learning, and emotional well being, and feminine energy and protection. The gentle but powerful influence of maternal figures who provide a safe foundation.
Gentle and powerful.
Yeah.
Both Jet and Franny have their own degrees of both of those things.
Yeah, and I just want to stress that the high priestess energy is way different from the empress energy.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
And they're both
Agreed.
very feminine.
Hmm.
And I guess you could say they're both divine feminine, but in different ways. I feel like the high priestess is more like she's got more of an edge.
Yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
more of an edge. She doesn't want children. She's more connected to her like higher being. And the empress is more like that motherly love, that motherly bonds and
Yeah.
nurturing
The
something.
Empress is more Demeter, where High Priestess is more like Hestia. Like, I don't want no kids. I'm gonna take care of my hearth and do my thing
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah, yeah. Or like Athena or
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, or maybe even Aphrodite. I don't know. But somebody who's like very much more wants to be more in tune with their spirituality and not necessarily want something to care for.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But they are loving, they are protective figures who ensure Sally and Gillian grow up in a home where magic is something to be embraced, not feared. And the young girls, carefree and safe in the warmth of their aunt's love. This aligns with the Empress, the safe haven in a harsh world. The aunts know the girls will face cruelty outside, but ensure that the home is filled with love, magic, and joy. It also has that encouraging and growth, the creativity aspect. They introduce the girls to spell work not as something dangerous, but as joyful and playful expression of their identity. And as far as the table of abundance, the imagery of the girls sitting at the table full of desserts, blowing on a candle as they practice magic reinforces the themes of comfort, nourishment, and gentle guidance. And the aunts are looking on them with pride. They don't just teach, they watch their nieces grow into their own, supporting them every step of the way, even if that's kind of like tweaking their fate a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they are
You
there for
have
them through it all,
exactly. Did
even
you
giving up their lives in the end.
Oh yeah, yeah. In the books, you mean?
Yes,
Right, yeah.
yes.
Did you have anybody growing up that you kind of saw as like aside from your mom anyway, that you saw as like that empress?
The motherly figure. The woman who taught our priestess training, Amalia, was very like, I was like, God, patient, kind, just has this wisdom, just this presence about her. And now this is Clyde to me. She
Yeah.
is the empress of
Aw.
her domain for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, like growing up, I told you, like my mom worked a lot when we were kids. So we were often dropped off at a lot of different people's houses, like who could, care for us when my mom, was at work. So I always tell you about the Conways, right? We would always get
Mhm.
dropped off at their house and they would always like, we had a blast at their house. And their house was like this, huge Victorian house. So we would, just like go around little crevices of like all the nooks and crannies of their little house. And
Yeah.
it was a very magical house. And then also my auntie Serafina, the the one that threw my Ouija board over the goddamn fence. But like we were always like dropped off at her house too, and like she was just fun to spend time with too because she's a
Yeah.
little crazy, but she's a good time.
I
And
love it.
then my grandmother, Joan, right?
Or my mom.
She also had a huge, like really creepy but like old house with a lot of history, but like she would always have food for us and like,
That's grandma's name.
we had a blast at her house too
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So yeah, there were like, a lot of different people that I would consider that matriarchal figure when my mother, was working and
Hmm.
couldn't be that. Like other women who stepped into that role.
Takes a village, right?
It does take a village. And it's really funny, like as a nanny, stepping into that role for other kids' moms who can't because they're working, and then like
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many kids call me mom by accident.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I was like, I'm flattered, but I'm not your mom. I mean, but it is cute. It's endearing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's sweet. That's really sweet.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've talked about the Empress. Now we're going to talk about the Emperor, right? And the Emperor is more of that masculine figure, which represents structure, authority, and society's rules. The patriarchy, basically, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So the symbolism in tarot, the Emperor is seated on a stone throne, symbolizing rigid power and control. He holds a scepter and an orb, representing rulership over both spiritual and earthly realms. Behind him, mountains represent stability, but also emotional coldness.
Mm.
I'm talking about my dad. His red robes symbolize strength, passion, and dominance.
My dad.
My dad?
This
Yeah.
one was kind of hard because it doesn't really have a lot of patriarchal stuff besides the Puritans at the beginning and the toxicity of Jimmy.
Right.
So this one is depicting more of like the town's folk. So on our card, it shows a grand and imposing courthouse which looms under a stormy moonlit sky. Its Gothic architecture, an unshakable pillar of order and authority. The full moon, partially veiled by swirling clouds, casts an eerie glow over the cobblestone streets below. A tall, shadowy figure clad in a long coat stands in front of the steps, facing a gathered crowd dressed in black cloaks and bonnets, whispering amongst themselves. Some look fearful, others resigned, watching as judgment is placed. In the background, a sailing ship is docked near the town, which I did not notice, but yes,
Oh,
there is. Okay. Its
yeah.
mast is cutting through the misty night air. The card's monochrome palette of deep grays and inky blues reinforces the weight of law, control, rigid structure that the emperor represents. And yeah, this is the most like monochrome, very serious, and not there's no like character. It's the essence of the town and what they portray, what they're trying to enforce upon the Owens women, I think.
It is very cool, very patriarchal for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to fit into society's standards of what the Owenses should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the themes of the Emperor card represent control and authority. This represents societal structures, rules, and the rigid systems that govern life. Order versus freedom, the contrast between stability and restriction, what is necessary for safety versus what suppresses individuality, right? Like the Owenses, they're not really encouraged to be all up in their individuality, right? They're expected to conform and they don't, hence why they are often ostracized. And then patriarchal influence, this often signifies male dominated authority figures or societal expectations, and the protection and boundaries, which can represent a force that seeks to impose order, whether for good or even for ill.
If there was a character, not even necessarily in this film, who would like an emperor character be from a movie?
From a movie,
Yeah, like
probably what's his face from Labyrinth, David Bowie, the Goblin King.
oh, okay, okay, yeah, 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 I can see that.
He's sitting on his throne with all his goblins, little hobgoblins
And
around him.
he's doing what he thinks is asked of him. Hey,
Yeah.
come take this baby. Okay, I do what you asked, and this is the order of things. So if you want
Right.
baby back, you're gonna have to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cool.
Yeah.
I can't think of
I
anybody.
guess anybody that kind of holds that like kind of power role.
I kind of
Right.
think of like John Wayne, maybe like a John, like a he's the sheriff of the town. Which I mean, like I'm gonna get into how this card aligns with practical magic in a second. And of course, Gary comes up because he is the law.
Oh yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, that's also true.
That's also true.
So, yes, the town and its judgmental attitudes, the overarching structure that governs Sally and Jillian's lives outside of their home. The townspeople uphold rigid rules, seeing the Owens women as outsiders, labeling them as witches, and ostracizing them. Then there's the curse itself, a force beyond their control dictating what can and cannot be done with love. It acts as an unyielding rule that must be obeyed, much like the Emperor's authority. Then you have the law enforcement and Gary Hallett, the literal representation of law and order. Gary follows the rules, but ultimately must decide whether to uphold or challenge them when faced with the truth of magic. It also is the town's social order. There's that harsh a structured system where the Owens women have no place, reinforcing themes of exclusion and judgment. And this again lists the inescapable curse, the rigid framework under which all the Owens women must live, mirroring the emperor's authoritative grip.
I guess we'll move on to the Hierophant. And this represents tradition, knowledge, conformity versus spirituality. And the symbolism in the tarot, the Hierophant is often depicted as a spiritual teacher sitting between two pillars, much like the High Priestess, but with a focus on structure rather than mystery. So, like dogma, basically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, more dogma than philosophy.
Mm.
So his hand gesture represents blessings and divine transmission of knowledge. Two followers kneel before him, showing the passing of wisdom from teacher to student. His crown and robes symbolize divine authority, tradition, and adherence to sacred laws. I think cult leader.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. I think, yeah, like Mason, what are those
Uh-huh.
called? Like the Masons. That's what I think of.
Yeah, yeah,
Freemason.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But in our deck,
Yeah.
I depicted this as their spell book. So, because
Mm,
that's that's where they get all their information from, like their Bible. Like if you're getting all your information out of this one book, you're going to take it as gospel.
right.
So, at the center of our scene in our card rests an ancient leather bound book, the spell book. Its cover is embossed with intricate symbols, a pentacle at its heart. The book exudes a sense of deep wisdom, tradition, and the knowledge passed down through generations. Around it, there's flickering candles that's illuminating a wooden table. Their wax drips down as though marking the passage of time. There's bundles of dried herbs, glass jars filled with mysterious ingredients, and a small carved crescent moon talisman which rests nearby. In last episode, I think, we learned the difference between talisman and amulet.
Oh, that's
Didn't
right.
we? Yeah. Reminders of the sacred rituals and teachings of those who came before. The atmosphere glows with quiet reverence, golden sparks floating in the air, evoking a space of ancestral knowledge and spiritual guidance flowing freely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a really pretty picture of this
It's
book.
so cute. I like how 90% of these cards turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they're not really cohesive as far as style goes,
No.
but like they all are individually standing alone on their own. Like they're all really cool cards.
Yeah.
So some of the themes of the Hierophant card are tradition and institutional knowledge, and this represents established beliefs, teachings, and structures passed down through generations, much like that of the Maria's book. Like that's been passed down to all the way up until Sally and Gillian, right? Rules and rituals. The Hierophant governs sacred customs, guiding others through structured wisdom. Spiritual authority, which can symbolize both religious or mystical teachings, and the adherence to a system of values, whatever values the aunts have left, but they're very strict about the one where they can't bring people back to life, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That's
saw
the
your poll, by the way. Everybody is in agreement. Unhinged morale. Like they're,
unhinged.
yeah,
Yeah,
unhinged.
we had one person that didn't, put the little thing all the way up, just a little bit, just a little unhinged, and they messaged us because they saw the results and they're like, I see I'm kind of outnumbered, but a lot of them might be a lot younger than me. You get your outlook kind of changes when you get older.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, you're not wrong. Yeah,
Okay. I got it.
yeah.
That's so funny.
Did I read this one? Conformity versus personal beliefs, representing the tension between following traditional paths and seeking one's own truth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The Owens family has that unspoken rules of their lineage passed down from Maria Owens through the generations. I don't even think they know the specifics of the curse, to
Mm.
be honest. But in this book, okay, so we're back to the book. Aunt Franny, Aunt Jet as teachers, while they have the wisdom of the high priestess, they also serve as the Hierophant as well when they formally teach Sally and Gillian the foundations of magic, its rituals and responsibilities. From the cans to the cans of
Right.
this, you know.
Yeah. And I would say even before the aunts for Jillian and Sally, I would say that was pretty much Aunt Isabel
Mhm.
to Franny and Jet, right? And
Yes,
Vincent. Yeah.
yeah. It represents the structured lessons, the do's and don'ts of their craft, and the expectations set before them. Just as the Hierophant represents institutions and conformity, the Owens women must navigate the tension between embracing their heritage and fitting into the outside world. This also aligns with the aunt's teachings of be careful what you wish for. It's a lesson that Sally and Jillian must learn, and you could learn that multiple times, I think, through your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just as the Hierophant holds religious scriptures, the Owens spellbook serves as a guide containing generations of knowledge. Whether they embrace it or reject it, magic is an inheritance, much like religion or cultural traditions passed down in families.
So they can't pass that book down anymore since, right? They destroyed that book at the end of
Oh, yeah. Ooh, well, didn't she copy everything
yeah, but like wasn't all the magic like
in the
what
skin?
the magic that made the book magic was in the toad skin which dissolved when they threw it into the leech lake, right?
Maybe it still has like the spells for like the soap or like the
Okay,
dove
recipes.
magic. Yeah, the recipes.
Recipes. Okay, all right.
They're
So
pulling recipe cards now. They don't have
got
the book.
got it. Okay. The next card on this list is the Lovers, and this represents love, choices, and consequence. In the tarot, this is represented by a couple standing together, and this symbolizes union and emotional connection. And there is an angel or a higher power above them, which represents fate, divine intervention, or the idea that love is guided by something greater. They are in a divided landscape. Mountains, rivers, or other separations can indicate the trials that lovers must face, and they are surrounded by the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. In traditional decks, they symbolize choice. Knowledge comes with consequence. And I think this is probably I don't know if you want to say the most biblical card. There's a few like really biblical looking cards, but I think that this card is really depicting like the whole Garden of Eden thing. I think there's even a snake going down one of the trees in by Eve anyway, because like there's a man and a woman, they're both naked. And I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be Adam and Eve because on the tree
Right.
there's also like little red balls that symbolize the apples,
Yes, I think
right?
you're right. Yeah, it's very biblical. Yeah. This one and the devil card, pretty much, like the fire and brimstone, they've got them on a chain,
Yep.
on their necks. But what I should have also put in here was green apples and the black dog, because I think the consequences, the challenges that they're going to face, kind of unforeseen in this situation, right?
Right.
So I should have put that in there. But on our card, they're a little younger than I was trying to get them to be. I was like, make them adults. It wasn't doing it. So they
Yeah,
look
those
like
teenage.
they're teenagers, like maybe 19. We'll say 1920. But it's, of course, that Faith Hill, this kiss scene. Sally and Michael are caught in a moment of pure, radiant love. Love. A love untouched by the curse, yet tragedy or time. There's a golden light of the setting sun, which is enveloping them, casting this ethereal glow as Michael lifts Sally into his arms. She leans into him. Her hands are cradling his face. Their foreheads are almost touching, lost in the warmth of their connection. He has his backwards baseball cap, a small detail that reflects his playfulness, easygoing nature, while she wears a loose white top and jeans. This is embodying her effortlessness, carefree, and happiness. Almost another fool card situation. And then above them, I guess instead of the tree of life, we have three black crows that soar above them in the sky. This is the omen of fate, a silent reminder that even the most beautiful love is not immune to destiny. The wind rustles through the tall grass, mirroring the wild, unrestrained nature of their passion. The moment is one of soul deep connection, vulnerability, and joy before the cruel hands of fate intervene. And yeah, they look like they're in like a field, which
Yeah.
doesn't fit, but this is the best I had.
Yeah.
He's kind of kneeling down and he kind of has caught her. She's, above him, ready to kiss him. Give him a smooch.
Yeah. It also kind of reminds me of, was it Kylie and Gideon from the book?
Yeah.
Because they are a lot younger, right? They're like teenagers.
Yes. Cute.
And they were also kind of affected by the curse, right? In the Book of Magic. Is
Yeah.
Gideon's the one that goes into like that coma or whatever, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Kylie goes off to like save him. Some themes of the Lover's card represents deep connection and love, a bond that feels destined, filled with harmony and devotion. It can also represent choice and consequence, often signifies a pivotal decision in life or love where one must follow their heart or logic, right? Like that moment that Sally met Michael, she had to kind of make that decision, albeit like the aunts pretty much made it for her. That was kind of like the pivotal moment, right? She follows her. Maybe the aunts did the spell more for her to follow her heart than her logic, because if she was following her logic, she would,
Bye bye.
yeah, forget about it. She never wanted to fall in love.
Hmm.
But maybe the aunts they just gave her a little push, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that little push was then the aunts being that white dog and pushing her off that fool cliff,
Yeah.
right? Like, here, go have some fun.
Yeah.
Go have an adventure. Okay?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Stop thinking so much about it. Maybe that's
Get
why
out of your
you're
head.
yeah, exactly. Maybe that's why you're all alone and your sister's out having a good time.
And you need the molasses.
Just to get your legs to open up. Exactly. So the odds were just giving her a little push. So I don't know. Are they ethical? Are they not? I don't know.
Oh,
So the Lover's card also represents fate and duality. This can symbolize the balance between two forces, passion and caution, right? Like on Isabel's tea, caution and what was the other one?
courage.
Courage. There you go. Yeah, caution and courage, destiny and free will. Also, it represents innocence and tragedy, though. The Lover's card, in some contexts, also carries undertones of love that is fleeting, transformative, or marked by loss. Think of like Romeo and Juliet, the star-crossed lovers,
Yes,
right? Adam and
exactly.
Eve. So, you know,
Gillian and Jimmy.
Well, yeah, I think Gillian and Jimmy would also be a great lovers card because that was like if we look back at our the episode we just did where we the snake episode where we talked about the twin flames,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
how like sounds great, but it can be pretty destructive if you put two toxic people together, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
What sign he would be. Did we do a Jimmy character? We did a Jimmy character analysis, didn't we?
Do you
Yeah, we
think
did. I
do
don't
you
know what
think
sign we
he's
would pin him at.
Scorpio? Maybe a Scorpio?
I think you're right.
He is of the desert.
Yeah. I
He'll
gotta,
sting you with my stinger.
yeah. But
Get
also
you to love
a
me.
water sign? Like Scorpio
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. It's yeah, Scorpio, it comes off as fire, but
He's
like
water.
it's like a tidal wave, like
But
big.
then there's Aquarius, which has aqua in the name,
Yeah.
not water, air, you know?
Yeah,
And
make it
then
make
Sagittarius, which is like a water goat,
a
fire.
water goat. A
No, which
water
was it?
goat.
Capricorn. Capricorn's the water goat, right?
I
You're
don't know,
the
but my side hurts. I need a
you're
t-shirt.
the centaur.
I need a t-shirt with a centaur on it that just says water goat. That's great.
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
it. Make it happen. I love
What's the Capricorn though? What I'm
Capricorn.
thinking of?
Capricorn's the not the ram.
So
It's yeah, Capricorn's the goat.
which
Yeah.
which one's got the fish tail?
The fishtail. Not no, Sagittarius is the centaur, so that's part horse.
Right?
Fishtail. Yeah, what the fuck was that one? Not Pisces. Pisces is the two fish,
Right.
right?
Hang on.
Not Aquarius. That's the
No,
water.
the ram is Aries.
Yeah, the
The ram
Capricorn.
is Aries. So Capricorn's got to be the goat fish.
No, Capricorn's a well, yeah, Capricorn's a goat, but it's also a fish.
Yeah, it's got a little mermaid tail.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
What? Shut up. I always thought Capricorn was just the goat and the Aries was the ram. I didn't know that the Capricorn was like a hybrid.
It's a hybrid. That was a
Up.
funny detour, though. I love that.
Goat fish. Holy shit.
Doesn't make sense. Okay, so we have these Michael and Sally, this embodiment of pure fated love, and they have this effortless, joyful connection. She doesn't even mind the beard, and the kind of love that feels safe and whole. They're living this very picturesque white picket fence life with these two kids.
10 of hearts, right? Cups, 10 of cups.
Oh, 10 of cups. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And before this curse takes effect, they experience the idealized version of love, playful, deep, comforting. Sally allows herself to love Michael fully, and that's kind of the uh-oh moment, unlike her cautious approach to love as a child. However, fate and the curse take him away, showing the duality of love's beauty and its fragility. Sally's later journey is defined by the pain of Michael's death and the choice to either shut herself off from love or take risk again. After Michael's death, she chooses isolation, though, rejecting love entirely, which sets up her arc for later in the story.
Sally's a romantic at heart. She did a love spell as a child, even though she said she didn't want to fall in love. Like, she
Right.
still put the feelers out there into the universe, and,
Yeah.
it just did its thing and came back and delivered. She wasn't expecting it, but I just think she is such a romantic, even though she tries to, like, play it off like, fuck love. I don't need that shit, but, like, you do. You do, and you love it. So just,
Be a basic bitch if you want to be a basic bitch.
just be a basic bitch.
If you love the pumpkin latte, love the pumpkin latte.
I love
I
that.
love a pumpkin latte.
Avi's a basic.
He is.
He,
But he owns it. He knows it.
he does know it. He needs a Starbucks. Like, he needs it. He will die.
Like a hole in the head.
Like a hole in the head.
Okay.
All right, so the next card is the Chariot, and this is determination and diverging paths. So in the tarot, a charioteer holding the reins represents someone steering their own destiny with confidence. I thought that in the tarot he wasn't holding the reins. I thought it was just like Wait, hold on.
Yeah, we'll put
Let
that
me
up.
look up the chariot.
We're gonna fact check.
Yeah, the chariot arrow. Yeah, he's not holding any reins in the rider weight anyway.
Mm.
He's kind
Mm-hmm.
of, yeah, he's in this chariot. There are no reins, and there's two beasts, one black, one white, kind of symbolizing that balance.
He's holding like a scepter, but then nothing
Yeah.
else in his hand.
Exactly. So that represents someone steering their own destiny with confidence, right? Just
Gotcha.
letting the two sphinxes or horses pull the chariot and not really steering them either way. It's like, okay, wherever this thing goes, it's gonna go and it's gonna
Yeah.
take me where I need to go. So this symbolizes the two sphinxes symbolize opposing desires or paths, freedom versus responsibility. Then we have the armor and the crown denoting protection, ambition, and control over one's fate. And then they're riding through a city or home in the background, and this is a reminder of what is being left behind.
Hmm.
So, kind of like steering into your future with confidence, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I chose to use Gillian in this metaphor, but looking back, you could also use the blood oath scene as their paths diverging in that specific moment. That is when, pew, they're going opposite. Well, if you want to dial it back even further, when Gillian's like, I can't wait to fall in love, and Sally says, I don't want to. Also, another diverging path. However, since we have that picture from the movie of Gillian actually in a car driving, I thought that would be a good fit.
No, that's perfect. I love this image. That is
So
perfect.
cute.
Perfect for her.
Oh,
Yeah. Through the
she's
desert,
amazing.
her hair
Yeah.
blowing in the wind.
Yeah. It's very colorful. Okay. So in our deck of the chariot card, we have Gillian, and she's gripping a steering wheel of a vintage silver convertible. She has her fiery red hair whipping wildly in the wind as she speeds down an open desert highway. There's a golden sun that's setting behind her, casting long, dramatic shadows across the road, illuminating the determination in her gaze. She wants to get out of Maria's island. God damn it. She wants to
Yeah.
go. She wears this like open white blouse, effortlessly stylish yet untamed, exuding the free spirit she's always been. She's got earrings, they're little small, intricate pentagrams. They're glinting in the sunlight, and this is a subtle nod to her magic. The desert landscape stretches endlessly with no destination in sight. She's a fart in the wind, as Justina likes to say. Only momentum, escape, sheer willpower driving her forward. This says the license plate reads chariot. It doesn't. It's kind of like a garbled mess. But
Yeah.
this says that this is a playful confirmation that it's more than just, what does Miley Cyrus say? This says it's more than just the ride.
Yeah, it's like
It's all part of the journey.
all part of the journey. Yeah.
It's a metaphor for control, choice, and the force that propels us through our life's obstacles. The border of the card is adorned with like celestial, astrological symbols, reinforcing the idea of fate intertwined with free will. Yeah, I
Mm.
love this card. It's so cool. It's kind of like a not forced perspective, but you get the head on of the car, and it's disappearing into the what's it called?
The distance, there's the focal point.
The focal point. Yes.
Driving, she's driving away from the sunset, right?
Yes, and the steering wheel is not looking structurally sound, but I like how the sun kind of gives her a little halo.
Yeah,
She got her fringe. She looking so cool.
yeah. I'm wondering if the chariot could also symbolize astral projection because that's what we think that scene is, right? We think
Yes,
that's the big debate. We think
that
that sparked a lot of chaos over on our.
controversy. That's good. Yeah, I like that. The card also says at the bottom the Cowens,
The
so it took the
Cowens.
chariot and made it the Cowen. I think it was trying to put Owens.
Okay.
Yeah,
The chariot Owens, the Coens.
the Cowens.
Yeah. So some themes of the Chariot card are breaking free and taking control, and this represents a bold decision to move forward and forge one's own path. And the determination and willpower, and this embodies the strength to overcome obstacles through sheer force of will. It represents adventure and independence, a journey towards self discovery, often leaving behind the past. And then the balance between instinct and discipline. The chariot is often pulled by two opposing forces, symbolizing the tension between impulse and control. So it's kind of like a lot of the same characteristics of the Fool card,
Hmm.
but different in a way. I don't know. Like, hold on. What is the difference between the Fool and the Chariot? Because they're both kind of like setting off and forging their own path.
Mhm.
Okay, so this says in tarot, while both the Fool and Chariot represent journeys, the Fool represents the innocent, unburdened start of a journey, while the Chariot embodies controlled forward movement and the ability to navigate challenges with intention and direction. So the Fool is more of like that childlike innocence. I guess.
Yeah. No direction.
Yeah.
Chariot has direction.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Got it.
yeah, and more
Cool.
self-discipline. Taking action, self-discipline, and mastering one's own path is more of the
Hmm.
chariot, and the fool is more of like experimentation. Just flying by the seat of their pants, kind of like we did in season one.
Yeah.
So we were the fool in season one. Now we're more of like the chariot,
Yeah,
right?
we're driving. We're driving now down Jersey fucking
Drive,
turnpike.
driving Miss Daisy.
Oh, I think for Jillian, the fool is her very much a can't wait to fall in love. And
Mm,
her chariot is when she decides to pack up and throw those, bed sheets out the window and get the fuck out of town. She
yeah,
knows direction, she knows where she's going, who she's going with.
right.
But the love concept, so much grander, little broader of a concept to a child, I think. Yeah. So this chariot, the embodiment of the chariot, Jillian doesn't want to be tied down by the expectations of her hometown or the Owens name. She's restless, eager to explore, and takes off in search of adventure. And boy, howdy, does she find it. The chariot represents the exhilaration of breaking free and also the risk of going too fast without control.
Mm.
So, leaving home, seeking that freedom, Jillian departs untethered by family or responsibility, craving love, experience, and excitement. And as far as the pull between passion and caution, like the chariot's two opposing forces, Jillian is torn between her need for love and her reckless attraction to Jimmy. The thrill of the adventure eventually brings her into this dark place, much like how the chariot can represent that headlong rush into the unknown.
Yeah, and I mean when you're going to the unknown and you take a look at those two sphinxes, yeah, that, kind of like bookend the chariot in the middle, the dark one is kind of like symbolizing the darker path, the light one's symbolizing, all the good that can come out of that journey. And unfortunately, I think Jillian went down that darker path.
Yeah.
So even though she's forging her own path and she feels like she's in control, she ultimately the chariot went off the rails and went over a cliff.
Even we talked about this, even when she's in Sally's room, like in front of the fire,
Mm.
she in her mind, she thinks she has control over the situation by using belladonna to make him fall asleep. Like it's totally fine. I've got this.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. She
Right.
doesn't. Yeah.
She learns that the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So okay, so that's it for the chariot card.
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna move on to the strength card. This is number 8, and this signifies resilience, endurance, and inner power. And in the tarot, this is symbolized by a woman calming a lion. Right? She's got her actual hands on his mouth, and isn't she like opening the lion's
She's
mouth?
like the lion ate like a toy. And she's like, get that out of your mouth.
Like diggity. It's like stop
It's like
throwing
my
up.
dog.
Yeah.
I am
So
strength.
yeah, you are today. You have to you have to be. So the woman that calm in the lion represents mastery over instinct and fear through gentleness rather than domination. An infinity symbol is above her head. This signifies boundless endurance and wisdom, and she's in a peaceful landscape. This suggests harmony and control over her internal struggles because a lion can be a scary thing to tame,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you can't fight fire with fire sometimes. Sometimes you have to approach it in a more gentle way. And what do they say? You catch more flies with honey, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Yeah, the gentleness rather than domination. And I think that is where the patriarchy gets it wrong,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Like, how much more do we get done with just communicating and talking and collaborating rather than I'm right, you're wrong? This is a perfect card for right now as well
I
for
agree.
for women in general. So yeah, in our card here for strength, I pictured Sally walking toward the Owens house. She has her head held high. Yeah, so in the film, she has it held high because she is like, my kids are not going to do magic, right?
Yeah.
So that there is more like a putting her foot down determination. But in our card, she's flanked by her two daughters, and they're approaching the Owens home. They're cast in this golden light of dawn, which spills over the house, illuminating its familiar white facade and wraparound porch, a symbol of sanctuary and lineage. Sally's hair cascades down her back. Her long white dress is billowing slightly as she grips this little small black suitcase, which is a quiet reminder of the burdens she carries. Her daughter's Antonia she's got the short brown hair, and Kylie has kind of a medium length red hair. They're dressed in the soft white gowns as well. They walk barefoot beside her, their small hands clutching hers. They look up at the house with curiosity and quiet acceptance, stepping into a future, one they don't fully understand just yet. This is set in like an arched frame of twisting vines and golden filigree. This surrounds the card, enforcing the sense of resilience, endurance, and coming home to oneself.
Right. And I have to say, so like lions are often associated with pride, right?
Mm-mm.
And how much pride do you think Sally had to put aside after Michael died to move back in with the aunts after she escaped that, like, I don't want to say hellhole, but like, she escaped that life that she thought that she had for herself. Like, she never thought she was gonna get out of that house and find love and have a family. Like, she never saw that for herself, right?
Exactly.
So I think it probably took a lot of like setting her pride aside to do what was best for her little girls, because now she has, it wasn't just about her anymore. Now she has two little girls that she's got to care for, and she's got to do what's best for them.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
moving back into the aunt's house was it, then she was going to put her own pride aside and do that.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, so I definitely think that took a lot of strength for her to do. So some themes of the strength card in general are inner strength and patience. True strength is not about force, but endurance, courage, and quiet resilience. And Sally is very resilient. She, had to overcome a lot throughout this film. Overcoming hardship with grace represents facing difficult situations with calmness rather than aggression. Compassion and control often symbolizes the ability to tame wild emotions, fears, or external challenges with understanding rather than brute force. And lastly, feminine power, unlike the chariot, which is about external drive, strength is about inner fortitude and emotional perseverance. And I think another strength moment for Sally was probably after Gillian came to visit her and kind of like kicked her in the ass a little bit. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have to take care of these little girls. Get up, brush your goddamn teeth, go get to it. And then what did Sally do? She opened up a botanical shop. Like, the one thing that she wanted to do before Michael's death, she wanted to do with him,
Hmm.
but she really had to overcome a lot of her own personal grievances to just get up and do that in honor of her husband, that this was his dream too. So to see that through, I think took a lot of strength and definitely emotional perseverance for sure.
The two words that you read, calmness rather than aggression. And when
Yeah.
she first shows up at that house, we don't see her aggression come out until she can't lie to Gary, and then she kind of loses her.
Until the pancakes,
Until the
right?
pancakes. Yeah. Yeah. So the calmness, like when she shows up at the house, she's kind of like serial killer calm, but this could also be grief exhaustion.
Yeah.
Children will never do magic. Straight face, right? But then when she has to go get her sister,
Yeah.
she's remaining calm. She's trying to remain calm throughout it all. Even when she's driving in the car, you can see her like, I gotta play this cool or we're
Yeah.
gonna die. And
Yeah.
then when she's got to figure out how we're gonna, all right, you want to do this? All right, we'll bring him back to life. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, I guess we gotta bury him. She's not outwardly angry with her sister until she, that little snippet of I have children. I had that life.
Yeah.
So I think she really embodies the strength most of this movie with the
Yeah.
calmness rather than aggression, is what I was
She
gonna say.
does hide her aggression well, right? Because
Not
she's
always healthy.
not always healthy, but like, what other choice does she have in the moment when all this shit is hitting the fan around her and she's like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
I
But
know.
something. But yeah, I think the shit definitely hit the fan when Gary, she couldn't lie to him anymore.
Yeah.
And
She's
I
like,
think,
okay. What do we do?
yeah,
You're totally right. But
yeah,
this strength is deeply tied to her journey, especially regarding Michael's death. So this is like enduring the loss, without losing herself,
yeah,
which we're going to get to the hermit card in just a second. So she does not fight the curse aggressively, but instead, she survives it. She's not going to take the route her mother took. Let's
mm,
just say that. She's
right.
choosing to raise her daughters and move forward despite her heartbreak. And while Gillian embodies action and recklessness, Sally represents that calm resilience continuing even when grief threatens to overwhelm her, which it does. Even when she does close herself off to love, she remains devoted to her daughters, her aunts, and eventually to Gillian when she needs help. And strength again is not about overpowering something but enduring it and coming through stronger. Yeah.
And I think that also that just reinforces why I think Sally's an earth sign, because she is that kind of like calm, like she's more grounded than Jillian is in a sense.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, and I think maybe Jillian calls her, she goes back to her because she finds that groundedness in Sally, and Sally grounds her.
Mm-hmm.
Sally kind of brings her back down to reality. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Sally could even be an air sign and Jillian's a fire sign. Maybe she extinguishes Jillian's fire a little bit and kind of reels her back in and is like, all right, cool it. Like, Okay,
It
let's
would be convenient if they
reel it
were
back in.
sister signs of some
Right.
kind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah. I'm
Interesting.
wondering, yeah, I'm really wondering like what their sister dynamic is according to the zodiac. That would be
I feel like
fascinating.
Alice would give us a direct answer if we said we would just for our sanity. What are their birthdays? Could you give us a birthday so we can make these people a little more humanize them a little more? I feel
Right.
like she'd do it.
She probably would. She probably has, during character development when you write a book, like you have to know every single little detail about your character, right? And
Yeah.
I know she didn't use notes for a lot of the writing of some of the stuff that she was,
Right.
talking about. So maybe she didn't. I don't know. Maybe she didn't give them birthdays. But yeah, she gave Franny a birthday, but not Jet a birthday.
Right. She gave Maria and Faith birthdays.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have an idea of Jet's birthday, but we don't know the exact date, right? There's never an exact date
I
given.
don't.
Yeah.
I want to ask her.
I know. I know.
Which, by the way, quick announcement, Alice Hoffman is probably not going to be frequenting Instagram as much, but she said she's going to be over on Substack
Yeah.
and another app called Blue Sky, I believe. So you
Yeah.
can check over there. She did say she's going to come back, every now and then and see how everybody's doing.
I've been seeing her post on Instagram pretty
Okay.
consistently since she
Okay.
said that. So
Maybe she's given her followers like a little bit of a buffer to get out what they need, say goodbye. I don't
maybe,
know.
maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen her post a lot of stuff still over on the Instagram. So
Okay.
so the next card on this list is the Hermit, and this is all about isolation and soul searching. So in the symbolism in the tarot, this is represented by a figure holding a lantern. The Hermit's lantern represents self-discovery and insight, illuminating the path ahead. They are usually in a remote, lonely landscape, snowy mountains, or empty roads, which symbolize the distance between the hermit and the outside world. And they are often wearing a cloak or hood, which suggests withdrawal, contemplation, and a sense of protection from the world.
It's the Zeppelin album. What
Yeah.
album is that? I'm trying to look it up.
Oh, is it In Through the Outdoor? Is
Is
that
it
the
always?
one? Led Zeppelin. What's IV? Is that just four?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's their
Look
fourth
at
album.
you.
Well, it said
Zeppelin 4.
if it was represented by their fourth album,
Gotcha.
so
Yeah.
it's commonly known as Led Zeppelin IV.
Got it. That's
Yeah.
very cool. Yes, it's that. So in our card, of course, this is going to be Sally in her depression in bed after Michael has passed. So in this card, Sally lies alone in her dimly lit bedroom, bathed in the soft golden glow of morning light filtering through the windows. She rests her head on a pillow, her deep contemplative eyes staring into the distance, lost in thought. Her long brown hair spills across the pillow, unkempt from restless nights of grief and isolation. The heavy earth tone curtains, drawn back just enough to let in the dawn, frame the scene, creating a sense of seclusion and introspection. This is Sally in mourning, in retreat from the world, hiding from love, from magic, from everything that once made her feel alive. She has chosen solitude, believing it to be the safest path, but the warm light filtering into the room suggests that hope, clarity, and renewal are on the horizon. And also Gillian showing up. There is hope.
Yeah. Yeah. So some themes of the Hermit card are isolation and withdrawal, a period of retreat from the world to process grief, seek truth, or find meaning, to practice some deep self reflection, turning inward to understand one's emotions, pain, and purpose, and healing through solitude. The need for time alone before re emerging stronger, which she does ultimately when Gillian kind of gives it to her straight. It's like, get
Mhm.
the fuck up and brush your goddamn teeth. And then a guide in the darkness. Though alone, the hermit carries a light. Wisdom gained through suffering. And Sally does suffer. Like she just lost the love of her life, right? The father of her children. There was a lot for her to muddle through in that darkness during that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, after Michael's death, she retreats from magic, from love, and from life outside her family, choosing isolation over connection. She's not taking care of her kids. She moves back into the aunts we saw with that strength card. It took a lot of strength to put her pride aside and move back in with the aunts, but refuses to fully engage, going through life on autopilot. She's not taking care of herself. She
Right.
believes she is protecting herself and her daughters, but in reality, she's lost, searching for meaning in her grief. And also just, protecting herself, but she might even be contemplating darker things. Like, do I want to go on? Which is scary too. And though she isolates herself, her grief ultimately leads her to growth and self realization. Just like the hermit, Sally must go through these stages alone before she can open herself up to love and magic again. And then you can also consider like Gillian alone in her toxic relationship.
Yeah.
When you get into that like narcissistic toxic, you push people away. It's your own little cult, a cult of two.
Yeah. And she does kind of isolate isolate herself by moving out to the desert and going away from her family and people that actually love and care for her and know her,
Mhm.
and want what's best for her. She kind of like pushes that aside and is like, nah, I don't need that love right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And like then she looks for it in all the wrong places.
Uh-huh.
But
Good
as far
saying.
as Sally, what you said before about her probably going to that darker place, I think it's a good thing that Gillian came to remind her, like, she didn't outright say what happened, but she's like, do you forgive our mother? And I think that makes a bell go off in Sally's head, like, and she probably has to grapple with that in that moment, like, do I forgive our mother? Like, I don't forgive my mother, so if I don't forgive my mother, why would my little girls forgive me if I did that same thing?
Yeah. And then you got to think, did Regina didn't have a sibling. She didn't
Right.
have a Jillian to come pull her out. But if she did, would she still be around? You know?
Exactly. There's a lot of good things to ponder, you know?
Oh, look at us.
Oh, are we? We should be therapists.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
I think it was good that Jillian came and kind of like pulled her out of the muck, pull her out of that darkness. Jillian, in that sense, was that light that
Yes.
the little light that the hermit is holding.
Yeah.
Jillian was that light in that sense because I think Sally needed that reality check. Like, wow, I'm turning into my mother right now, and I didn't even realize it.
Mhm.
She lost herself in that grief.
Isn't
Yeah,
this fun? This is like the color theory thing.
I know.
Your
Yeah.
brain twisting in a
It
different way.
does. It does. It's making our brain expand.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The
Big
think.
brain.
Yeah. So that was the hermit card. All right, so moving on to, oh shit, my nose just fucked up.
Oh.
Hold on. It went back to rattlesnake seed. What the fuck just happened? My trackpad just decides to do what it wants sometimes. All right. The Wheel of Fortune. Here we go. All right. So the Wheel of Fortune represents fate, cycles, destiny. And in the tarot, it's represented by a spinning wheel. And this is usually in constant motion of life, with fortune shifting unexpectedly. And in the tarot, it's often, doesn't it have like all different, like the astrological it's like a wheel of literal, like esoteric symbols, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it's got stars, serpents, and creatures, which depict higher forces at play. Some of the figures rising and falling, which indicate the inevitable highs and lows of existence, and a mystical presence guiding the wheel, sometimes depicted as a deity or cosmic hand, emphasizing destiny's role. All right, so I'm looking at the Wheel of Fortune card in the Rider-Waite deck, and there's not a hand that's guiding the wheel, but rather there's a blue sphinx on top with a sword.
Oh.
And then, kind of like underneath it, the wheel is sitting on top of like a little devil figure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then there's a snake to the left of it. Top left, angel with a book, and top right, it looks like some kind of bird with a book in its claws.
What does it mean?
Yeah, bottom left, there's a cow with wings reading a book, and then the bottom right is like a griffin of some kind with reading a book.
Griffin Dunn.
Is Griffin done in the Gryffindor Harry Potter? I don't know
Interesting.
what, yeah, I don't know what these would mean.
I'm kind of curious now.
Yeah, okay. So it says the Wheel of Fortune, like other major arcana cards, varies widely in depiction between tarot decks. The card has been modeled ever since the tarot's inception, blah, 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 after the wheel of the goddess Fortuna.
Hmm.
Images generally show a 6 or 8 spoke wheel, often attended or crested by an individual, sometimes human, sometimes a sphinx life, half human, which is what's on this card, attired in an Egyptian style headdress. In some decks, such as the A.G. Mueller, the wheel is also attended by an individual wearing a blindfold, and often there are people sitting or riding the wheel, whilst others are shown falling from it. In this card, there's like a devilish figure that the wheel is kind of like sitting on the back of. The wheel is not always shown inscribed with any lettering. Where this is the case, the letters T-A-R-O clockwise or T-O-R-A counterclockwise. So it's either tarot or Torah.
Oh,
Right?
interesting.
Yeah. And it can often be found aligned against 4 of the spokes, which can also be interpreted as ROTA, the Latin word for wheel.
Okay.
What the
Okay,
hell?
see you.
What the hell? In some decks, such as the Rider-Waite, the wheel is also inscribed with additional alchemical symbols representing the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water, which are also said to be represented throughout the tarot by the 4 suits: pentacles or discs, swords, wands, and cups. These emblems can also be seen on the magician's table in the magician card. On the weight card shown here, though not necessarily on others, there are also 4 yellow-winged creatures in the corners of the card, representing the symbols of the 4 evangelists: the
Oh,
lion, the ox, the man, and the eagle. These 4 evangelists are also represented by the 4 fixed astrological signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. In addition, a representation of the god Anubis is okay, the guy riding the wheel, the devilish figure, is Anubis.
oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Anubis is riding the wheel on the right side, while the snake-like Typhon descends on the left. On the wheel, alternating with the letters T-A-R-O and the Hebrew letters, whatever that says, I guess it's T-A-R-O in Hebrew, usually translated as Y. Oh, okay. The Hebrew lettering translates to YHWH, Yahweh, or Hebrew for God. Isn't
Wow.
that wild?
In depth.
Crazy.
Smith. What's her name? Smith. Knocking it out of the park with that
Writer.
symbolism.
Oh yeah, Pamela Coleman Smith.
Pamela.
That's wild.
Pamela.
Pamela. Yeah, so there's a little extra food for thought if you're wondering what all that symbology means.
Yes.
Very
Thank
interesting.
you for doing that because I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
not what it looks like on our card. Our
Right.
card depicts Sally, Jilly, and Jimmy in his 1970s Oldsmobile barreling down that Jersey highway.
Yeah.
Its headlights are cutting through the night. Inside, we see those 3 shadowed silhouettes, the figures of Sally, Jilly, and Jimmy, sitting together, their fates entangled in a moment of destiny. This is like the boom moment of shit.
Hmm.
Above them, it depicts the wheel as like a neon Ferris wheel in the background. It's glowing ominously behind them. Its bright lights forming a perfect circle shape in the sky, symbolizing the relentless turning of fate. To the side, there's the oil refinery stacks looming in the background. The smokestacks are reaching toward a full moon that watches over them like an unseen force. Billowing clouds swirl around, hinting at a storm that is about to come. The moment when everything changes. The card captures the inescapable pull of fate, the turning point where life takes a sharp, unexpected turn. Jillian's literally ripped into the backseat. It is the moment Gillian, trapped in a toxic cycle with Jimmy, unknowingly sets events in motion that will alter their lives forever.
Yeah. And yeah, the wheel, literally, the cycle, right? This ever turning wheel, it keeps turning. And now is her chance to get off of that ride, that
Mm-hmm.
Ferris wheel ride, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cutting that
yeah,
cord.
exactly. So, very pivotal moment. Like, neither one of these girls realized that they were going to commit murder twice that night.
Yeah.
So,
And what is not larceny?
uh,
When you steal a car.
the Grand Theft Auto,
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah.
GTA. Yeah. So, yeah, they stole a car, they killed a guy twice, and they buried
Mm-hmm.
a body, you
Mm-hmm.
know? All the things happened that
Uh-huh.
night.
Uh-huh.
And the storm was rolling into Magnolia Street.
That's right.
Actually, it started with them, right? It was storming while they were driving, and it followed them all the way back up to Maria's
It
Eye.
did. Yeah.
Right. So, some of the themes of the Wheel of Fortune card. So, it represents change and life's unpredictability, right? How unpredictable was that night?
Yeah.
Sally was about to turn in for that night. She was writing her letter. She had her cup of tea. She was probably
Tea.
going to get into her jammies. She was looking at the moon, and then she got that phone call that changed the trajectory of the rest of that movie,
I would be pissed. I'd
right?
be like, I was in bed. I'd be so
Uh-huh.
mad if I didn't get out of bed, go
Yeah.
save your ass again, spend money on a flight, on a taxi, and then get kidnapped. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's the perfect shitstorm. Seriously.
Yeah.
Some of the other themes are destiny and karmic cycles. This suggests that events are beyond one's control, moving according to a greater force. And a greater force was definitely at play here, I think, because
Mhm.
destiny and karmic cycles, like Gary had to get to Sally at some point. She sent out that fire in the night for him. That little that what do they call the like a flare gun,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
her spiritual flare gun she sent out with her Almas Veritas love spell,
The same night.
like a boomerang, basically. So now it's just coming back to her, not in the best way, but like this was the way that Gary was gonna come finding her, right? To
That's a
come find her.
fast turnaround. She put that mail in the box and then boom, there goes the phone.
Well, I was talking about the Almas Veritas love spell. Like
Oh, okay. I thought you meant her letter.
Well, I mean, it could have been that too. That he found her letter, right?
Right, right.
I don't know if the letter that she sent that night was the one that he found that he kept reading over and over again.
It was because she was writing to Gillian,
Yeah.
wishing love would lie down and be still for. She folded
Yeah.
it up. She put it in her, it was the watermarked envelope, and went, and on the back of the envelope, like she has like little vines and little flowers drawn.
Mhm.
And that's the envelope he pulls out of his pocket.
But you don't think that's every single letter she sends to Gillian?
You don't
All of
think
them?
that's the same letter? She's dreaming up
No,
of a man?
I don't think it's the same
I
letter.
think it's the same letter.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to pause that video.
We're gonna do a whole episode on letters.
Okay. I think it's the same letter. Why would
No.
they have a whole shoot scene of her monologuing this love, longing, and whatever? And he pulls this letter out like, hey, I got your letter. Here I am.
Yeah. Or
Maybe.
maybe she thinks it's the same letter, but it's not because I don't know that would be too quick of a turnaround time. I would.
We're gonna look this up when
All
we
right,
get to that episode.
we're gonna get into that at some point. But anyway,
Anyway.
so yeah, so she sends the boomerang out with her Alms Fidelis love spell as a kid, right? And talking about going back to this tarot card, the Wheel of Fortune, Destiny, and Karmic Cycle, she sent that out. It's got to come back to her at some point, right? So this is Gary. Like this event had to happen. Them killing Jimmy and bringing his body back to Magnolia Street had to happen in order for Gary to find her. This had to happen even though it wasn't like the best thing that could have happened in that moment. But then
Exactly. Yeah.
we have the turning points, a major shift in one's life for better or for worse, right? Like they don't know if we're going to go to jail over this. So, they don't know what's going to happen, but it is a major shift. This does
Yes.
ultimately kind of like spiral and snowball into like a much bigger problem down the line. Then surrendering to the unknown, accepting that fate will take its course no matter how much one resists. And that kind of like even showed up when Michael dies, right?
Mm.
And the aunts, they're like, that was fate taking its course. We can't bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and Sally kind of like trying to keep control over the situation. Like, no, I said, bring him back, bring him back. And they're
Mhm.
like, we can't.
Yes, yeah. And they're
So,
also trying to take control in the situation by drugging him again, giving
uh-huh.
him the belladonna and the tequila.
Right.
They're letting that take its course in a way, but still they're trying to just finagle what they need is and to
Right.
survive is what they need. So
Yeah.
you would do anything in your power to get out of that
Exactly.
situation. So this is definitely, as we talked about, the ultimate shift in the journey so far of the Owens sisters, in an inescapable turn of the wheel that reunites the sisters in a crisis.
Mhm.
So when Sally is behind the wheel of this car, in both a literal and symbolic sense, Sally takes control while simultaneously being at the mercy of fate as she and Gillian are being held hostage by Jimmy.
Oh, I just had a realization. Okay, so in this card, it says this is symbolized by a Ferris wheel ride in the
Yeah,
background. But what if the actual wheel is the steering wheel and
that's what I was thinking.
yeah, and she's the one like steering this wheel of fortune with like she's driving the car at this point. This could also be a chariot
Yeah,
situation,
yeah.
you know?
I was trying to go chronologically, but yeah, I thought the car, its motion, the wheels. I don't know why I put a Ferris wheel in there, to be honest. When it could have just gone off the car, but
Oh, because it's New Jersey. It must be
it's
Asbury
Jersey.
Park.
Yeah. Definitely wanted the smokestacks in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as Gillian and her desperation and the whole poisoning thing, Jimmy's death by belladonna is an act of survival, but also the catalyst that pushes Sally back into the world of magic. This is the curse in motion as well. The event signifies the inevitable force of the Owens family curse at play, reinforcing that no matter how much they try to avoid it, fate has already been written.
Mm.
And this defining turning point, the moment reshapes their lives, forcing them to confront their past and embrace magic once more. Despite their attempts to control their lives, destiny intervenes in a way they never anticipated. You never
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I like how it's very literal in the sense like, yeah, steering the wheels on the car, the wheel of fortune, everything in this moment, in this scene, when they're in the car, the literal wheels are turning. That's the moment that they accidentally kill Jimmy, and that's the turning point of the entire trajectory of the rest of the film.
This is
I
so
love how
cool.
that lined up like perfectly.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
All right, I think we said all there was say about that card, right? And
Yes.
now we're moving on to our last card for today, and then we're going to pick up the rest of the Major Arcana in the second half of this episode next week. So this card that we're going to wrap today up with is card number 11, and that is the Justice card. Truth, law, and consequences. And in the tarot, this is symbolized by a judge or authority figure holding a sword, and it represents clear, decisive action and cutting away of falsehoods. Also, it symbolizes a scale balancing truth and lies, symbolizes fairness, weighing different sides before making a judgment. Usually, this figure is sitting on a throne or in a courtroom setting, emphasizes justice as an institution and moral principle, and they're usually blindfolded or have unwavering eyes, which is the impartiality needed to deliver true justice. Like, think about a jury, right?
Mhm.
Like, they don't know everything. Like, they're presented with the evidence, but they have to make a decision based on what they believe or they believe to be fair and true.
Yes.
You know,
Who else would that be than Gary? So
right?
this is our Gary card. This card is looks a little different than the rest of them because it was like it was like according to copyright, I cannot create Gary Hallett based on his depiction in the movie. I was like, well, motherfucker, who are these other people? So it
Yeah.
really didn't like that I said that. So this took kind of like finagling. This
He
AI,
kind
I used a different one. They did
of
him
looks
dirty.
more like Garen.
It looks like Garen. Okay,
It
so
looks more like Garen.
Garen's got he's got good cheekbones, but yeah, they really made him angular in
Yeah.
this card.
Yeah, yeah.
So in our justice card, Gary Hallett stands calm and composed, an air of quiet authority surrounding him. He's wearing glasses, which when he shows up, he does wear glasses. I was like, perfect, justice, blind justice. They're
Oh
blue
yeah.
tinted. So he's wearing these blue tinted glasses, obscuring his gaze, but not his intuition. His neatly styled brown hair. He doesn't have him. Oh, they gave him a mustache. I thought it was just a shadow. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
This says it gives him the appearance of a man who has seen both order and chaos, yet remains unwavering in his convictions. A
Chaos.
mustache.
Chaos
Okay.
indeed.
His right hand. So I wanted him to hold a scale, but I also wanted him to hold a rose. So in his right hand, he holds a golden scale, the universal symbol of balance, truth, and fairness. And in his left, he gently presents a red rose, a stark contrast to his otherwise neutral, measured demeanor. A reminder here that justice can be tempered with compassion and understanding. Behind him, a large glowing moon illuminates the night sky, casting a soft light on the swirling backdrop, symbolizing hidden truths coming to light. Gary, as justice, is not just here to enforce the law, he is here to see the truth beneath the surface, weighing not just the evidence, but also the hearts and intentions of those involved. His presence in Sally's life is both a reckoning and a revelation, forcing her to face what she has been running from. Love.
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 Voila. So some themes of the justice card are truth and accountability. It represents the search for truth and fairness, uncovering hidden realities, law and order, a connection to legal matters, justice and moral integrity, consequences of actions, every choice has repercussions, whether for good or bad, and unbiased judgment, the ability to see through deception and make decisions based on facts rather than emotion. And like Gary's just trying to get the facts, right? He's just trying to get the facts the whole time, and these girls are just running circles around him.
He
Zigzag.
stuck around too long because then the searching for facts came for searching for Sally. I
Simping.
think if she hadn't gone to that hotel room, he would have been gone, And then
Oh, who, Jimmy? Or
no. When if Gary would have
oh,
to the motel, if he would have
yeah,
gotten back there and she didn't follow him, that's
yeah,
it,
yeah.
right?
That's true.
Because that
Yeah,
was the turning point of him. Like, here's my chance. Got her alone. Let me go for it. And he followed
yeah,
his heart instead of his head and logic.
yeah. What would he have done if she didn't chase him there? You know,
Yeah,
he didn't have a testimony. He said, "You girls better get yourselves a damn good lawyer."
yeah.
And I think that was him putting the ball in their court.
Mhm.
And Sally was like, "Well, I feel like I can't lie to you, so I'm not going to get a lawyer. I'm just going to tell you everything except,
Where I
just
buried him.
yeah, except where we buried him." So I don't know.
I
I
wonder
don't
if he would have like tested the ring. Like, what would you do?
Well, if you remember, he did scoop the belladonna seeds off of the car seat
Yeah, but
before.
they don't have a body to do a
Right.
toxicology. So
That's
there's no
true.
body, no crime.
Yeah, but he found poison, and that's why when he was questioning Sally in the greenhouse, he's like, looking at the bottle of belladonna, and she's like, "Oh, it's a sedative," and he's like, "For witches," like,
Poison
poison,
for
yeah.
witches.
So, I mean, I think he knew what was up. He probably got the report back on what the seeds were because he probably didn't know what they were. He probably got a report back on like what they were. That's probably why he asked her about it in the greenhouse.
But can you
Why else?
convict somebody if you don't have a body?
No, you can't. But I mean, it could raise suspicion.
Mm,
know?
okay.
So I mean, like they're probably suspects at that point because now he finds poison in Jimmy's car, which they stole.
Yeah.
So I'm sure his like spidey senses were going off at that point. But yeah,
Oh,
what
Gary.
the fuck would have happened if she didn't chase him to that hotel room to willingly give him her testimony without a lawyer present?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would he just have waited for them to have gotten a lawyer and then gone through the motions of like gone through the system? Like,
Yeah.
what would have
And
happened?
at this point, the aunts aren't there.
Right.
So they don't, right? They're still not there. They don't
Yeah.
come back until after she hits Gillian. So would they have like known to stay away? Okay, say Sally never ran off. Was it the Gillian possession that made them come back?
I don't know if it was the Gillian possession that made them come back. I feel like maybe they were like, well, enough time has passed. Maybe the storm blew over, you know?
Okay, because my
And then
thought,
that's why when they came back and they saw like all the shit going on, they were like, "Oh, our instincts are a little rusty."
yeah, okay.
You know?
Because my thought is if she had not run to the B&B,
Yeah.
would the aunts just have stayed away for longer until they got their lawyer and settled everything? Or would they have intervened?
Good question. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
don't
Like,
know.
yeah, what was the actual gut feeling that made them be like, "All right, we got to go back to the house now."
I don't know.
Yeah, these are things that we will never actually know but they're just so much fun to think about.
They are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So to wrap this up, how this justice card with Gary applies to our film. So he has just arrived in town to investigate Jimmy's disappearance, but ultimately seeks this truth over rigid law enforcement. So he's not really going by the book, I don't think. I think he's going a different route.
He's not going by the book. He's not even there to recover a body. He don't give a shit about this serial killer guy. He's simping for Sally. Come
He's
on.
simping for Sally.
Yeah.
This is his quest for truth versus his feelings for Sally. He embodies justice, but must also reconcile his personal emotions with his duty. The hidden crime and its consequences. The truth about Jimmy's death is concealed, but justice has a way of resurfacing. With the frog, Sally's morale dilemma is also here in this card. She must face the reality of what happened and how it aligns with her own sense of right and wrong, right? She's just like, grabs her keys. I'm doing what I think is right.
Yeah.
Slams the door, glass breaks, she's out. Gary's investigation as the catalyst for truth. His presence forces the sisters to confront their actions and the consequences. But does it? Gillian is riding the we don't know nothing train
Yeah.
to the end.
Right.
It's also the balance of love and duty. His growing connection to Sally complicates his role as an investigator, but ultimately, he chooses to see beyond black and white morality. And then lastly, the inevitable unraveling of lies. Justice always comes to light, whether through Gary's work or supernatural forces.
Yeah. I'm going back to the chariot card, maybe
Mm.
seeing Gary as the driver of this chariot, Jillian as the Black Sphinx, and Sally as the White Sphinx. It's like
Cool.
Jillian wants to ride this chariot all the way to we don't know nothing, and Sally is on the pure, train where she's like, I just want to be true. I just want to tell him the truth,
I
you know?
love that. I want to ride this chariot all the way to we don't know nothing.
T-shirt.
We don't know nothing.
We don't know nothing.
That's so funny.
I heard it and I came outside. I was washing a dish. So I heard it and do you remember that Dane Cook skit where he's like talking about like there's something going on in the neighborhood and like the nosy neighbors they're like act like they're cold all the time and then they're like
Vacuum in their grass.
yeah. And they're like I was washing a dish and I heard it so I came out. Yeah. And shit's so funny. I
They
feel you.
grab no shoes and nothing, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Whew.
So, oh, that was a ride. That was a wild chariot ride.
Good.
Thank you for that.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll have more for you next week. We want to let this simmer, let this sit, give you a little bite-sized morsel. So next week we'll dive back in with the rest of the Major Arcana. So let us know if you think like other scenes maybe pertain to these other cards. And I think we'll dive into like the minor cards on another episode.
Oh
But for
yeah, that's a
today,
whole other rabbit hole. Oh my God, there's so many fucking minor cards. There's 56 minor cards.
there's a lot.
So what we could do, we could divide it up into pip cards and then the suits. Take little
Yeah,
bite-sized chunks, you know?
I love that. I love that. These are some of my two favorite things right here.
That is all we have for you guys today. Just a reminder, you can check out all of the sources pertaining to today's episode via our hero page. The link is in our show notes. And thanks again to our patron and Palmiers for creating this app and keeping creators like us organized. If you guys do want to support the podcast on Patreon, you can support us for as little as $1 a month. That's our seedling tier, and that gets you access to our patron-only polls where you get to weigh in on what topics you would like us to talk about next. It also gets you our monthly calendar so you can see what topics we have coming up for the month, and it also gets you a welcome shout out on the show. Our $3 Lavender Bud tier gets you our show notes for each episode in an aesthetically pleasing PDF, our after hours posts, if there's any extra tidbits or behind the scenes info pertaining to any of our episodes, we'll post those along with a blog post or extra photos, and access to our specially curated Spotify playlists. We have created playlists for our WMSR episodes as well as Production Dream playlists for each song episode, and more. Our $5 Lilac tier gets you access to our private Facebook community where we host a monthly live stream. Plus, you'll get access to our Discord server where we host our monthly watch parties. And also on the Discord, you can join in on the discussion with other Magnolia Street neighbors via the various interesting channels and threads. And then here's the $8 Rose tier. This gets you access to extra audio visual content such as a once a month full-length video episode, unlimited bonus videos, uncut footage, cutting room floor footage, bloopers, outtakes, meditations, exclusive interviews, and old home videos from the vault, or spell or ritual videos, and more. It also gets you bonus content to coincide with our song-episodes, such as full-length demo streams of our original Practical Magic inspired music, plus lyric sheets, guitar chords, and original scratch demos, or bonus video performances of our songs and more. Lastly, we have our $15 Wisteria Vine tier. Just like a twisting Wisteria Vine, there's a way for you to stay connected with us, the Stinas. In this tier, we invite you to join our private Marco Polo video messaging app. The app is totally free for both Android and iOS. Sign up with your phone number or email, and we will help you do the rest. This is a great way to chat with each other in a more intimate group setting, face-to-face via video recording. We love to show each other our pets, our gardens, or anything else you'd like to share. And just a reminder that the higher the tier you sign up under, the more rewards you get, because you get all of the rewards of the tiers below it. You can upgrade or downgrade or even cancel at any time. So to support the podcast, head to patreon.com/Magnolia Street Podcast.
Yeah, and there are additional ways to support us and our podcast that don't cost you any money. If you do listen on Spotify, please give us a star rating. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a written review. We love sharing those on our Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, we would really appreciate any reposts or blurbs about our podcast. And make sure to tag us at Magnolia Street Podcast in your feed, posts, stories, and share us with your Practical Magic loving friends.
Check out our stories on our Instagram. I've been posting some zingers lately.
You have.
It's been real fun. And it's so much fun to like post like empty, like open-ended questions.
Yes.
And like polls and seeing like what people choose or like what they say.
I love those. Keep doing those.
It's so much fun to get everybody interacting because it's fun to talk about on here after the fact. So yeah, get over on our Instagram. We're at Magnolia Street Podcast on Insta. And if you want to send us an email, send us magnoliastreetpodcast@gmail.com.
It'll be forwarded to Gwillem. It'll be forwarded to Gillian, our newest assistant.
Our hobgoblin. Yeah.
All right. Hobgoblin.
All right, man. Are we ready to close this one out?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm Christina.
I'm Justina. We'll see you next time.
At the house on Magnolia Street, would you go down?